Hi, this is Corina Angela, and thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to deep dive into Nikola Tesla and share a little information about my process and what's been occurring lately. As many of you know, I'm on Patreon. The Origin of Light is where you will find the chronicles of Corina Angela and Nikola Tesla. And that began on May 24th, 2020. So a lot of you have been reaching out to me and asking, what specific process do I have? And I'll just answer briefly and then kind of show you some examples of how I pull all the information through. So for those out there that, are channelers or channel writers, automatic writers, all of those things. Perhaps this is, your way of collecting information and connecting your dots. Or perhaps this will help you if you're not quite sure, if you're a beginner and you're not quite sure how to do it and all of those things. So anyway, I started channel writing, automatic writing when I was 7, and obviously, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know, why I was writing these short stories and all this information would just kind of flood in, and I would write it in these short, the short story form, and I could visually see. Not like a movie in my mind's eye, but it was very practical. Like The Puppy in the Pond was my first short story, and I would sketch exactly what I would see. And I think solidifying it and making it tangible really helped me bring it into reality. And I think learning from a very early age that really helped me. Because I'm very right and left brain, and I'm not one to, take it out of the ether and be like, it's facts. It's like, no, I need proof. I need to connect the dots. I have to ground it. I have to bring it in here and now. And is it useful? Is it helpful? All of those things. So that has been my process thus far. I'm 55 now. So I think it's, year after year after year being on this path of, um, channel writing, automatic writing, c- yeah, connecting. And um, I pretty much working on myself to frequencies that I would never know I would connect with. So that's a key right there. And perhaps I'm speaking to a few of you that are uh, grappling with this. And this is what happens to me as well. There's certain information that is flooding in as I'm speaking for specific ones that are wanting to heighten their frequency and not knowing how. It's not in the how, right? It's not in the how. It's the the way that we take care of our heart, take care of our mind, our body is the way that we conduct our frequency, right? These are the tools that we have. Our body is a beautiful tool, right? The self-care, eating, eating well, exercising, movement within our body, right? If we're a rider, we're riding every day and we don't even think about it, right? We get up early at 4 o'clock in the morning. We don't even think about it. There's no thoughts, right? There is no system. There is no process, right? We do, right? So I think that's a big piece of it. And if we deep dive into that, we begin to raise our consciousness. We begin to raise our frequency automatically, right? Without even knowing, right? Or thinking. Um, it's just this organic process. So I think if we can deep dive into that, things just flow. Um, Unbeknownst to me in 2019, when Edgar Cayce and Gladys Davis Turner came in, I mean, I had no background of even knowing them or knowing their work or anything associated with Edgar Cayce. And when he presented himself to me in that physical form, I could see him as a younger version in his 30s. He's like, "Hi, I'm Edgar." And I'm like, "Yeah, who is this person?" He's like, "I'm Edgar Cayce." I was like, "Yeah." It's like deer in a headlight, right? Why? There were no filters. I had no preconceived notions of who this person was. I had no judgment. I had no ego. I had none of those things, right? What did I have? I had this wild curiosity of who is this person, right? Who is a spirit? Why are you here? What can I do for you? It's just like, so that right there is such a beautiful key point of when we are trying. We don't need to try, it's just to be authentically ourselves. Um, will raise our frequency because when we are doing all of those things naturally, right? And we're meditating and we're, doing all the things that we truly love, what comes in, right? Edgar Cayce, Gladys Davis Turner, Nikola Tesla, Einstein. I mean, it's just wild, right? It's such a beautiful, wild ride. And we can't plan it, there's no planning in that, the people that connect with different entities or beautiful spirits or wherever they're at on their path or just gaining their aha moment, right? Or you know their answer to the biggest problem that they ever had just boom miraculously comes into their awareness. Why? You're being who you authentically are, and therefore you are raising your frequency. So, wow. Okay. So I hope that was helpful for some. Anyway, I did want to go into a little bit. Thank you. I wanted to go into a little bit of the process. So in May 24, 2020, Nikola Tesla came in visually almost the same way Edgar did. It was very interesting. And I saw, again, I had no background of Nikola Tesla. Sure, I knew a couple things about him, but I never, I wasn't a follower or, a big advocate of his work or any of those things, right? But when he came in, I could visually see him with my third, fourth eye, however, in my mind's eye, whatever you want to call it. I could see him very clearly. But first, I'm very clairaudient, how we all are. We're clairaudient. We hear words, we hear sounds, we hear tones, we hear, ringing in the ear, different octaves, all those things, when we're honed into that frequency of information, right? So when he came in, it was with this word, and I had never heard this word before. So what did I do? I picked up a post-it note and wrote it down. So then I was very curious of like, what is this energy? Because I could feel his energy, not knowing it was his, around me, and it was really, really intense, right? So what was I doing? I was becoming aware of my surroundings. What was happening? How was I feeling? I just felt this, my energy I knew was not mine. It was something else, right? So when I went into a deep meditation, he immediately appeared and I could see him and he introduced himself as Nicola. So that's how it started. And I began to write what I was hearing, right? I began to sketch what I was seeing. I was beginning to sketch what he was showing me. And at first, it was very broken English, right? But over the years, it's very interesting how we each receive information in our own particular way, right? And why? Why is that? Why do some people process information much slower than other people that process things very, very fast, right? Well, because it's their way of receiving, right? Everybody is unique and genuinely so, right? Everybody has these abilities, and it's up to us to hone in on it and be aware and observe, right? Um, so I continued this process day in and day out. And in the beginning, it was broken English. It was these words. It was this information that was just flooding in. And I I tried to make the most sense of it for me to write it in a very particular way. Unbeknownst to me, years later, I would now understand going back, even in my notebook here, this is the first page that I wrote, right? And I'll read it. Says Nikola Tesla, linear conductor. There was a star by linear conductor. So stars represented very important, of importance. And to come back to it, and I could actually, I could put my fingers on the word, just the word alone. And immediately, even years, even now, I can, it's like I go back in time, over 5 years ago on that particular date, and I can recall the information that was received. And then there's more information that the dots are connecting. It's so interesting to me because so many people out there have their own way of receiving that works just for them. So, I'm still learning every day, but I just find it fascinating because I'm hearing other people, and people are reaching out to me and asking questions, and we're having this beautiful dialogue of sharing information of how their process is, and it's just wild and fascinating to me. And so I just wanted to share that because you may think, you're receiving something and it doesn't make sense, right? And you're trying, but just be in that flow because perhaps years later you'll get your aha moment and go, "Oh, that's why." Right. So today that's happening for me, and I just wanted to share it because it's just wild. On May 24th, 2020, linear conductor, energy source, new translator. And then it says conducts the most efficient energy, mass conductor, photonic light, and photosynthesis, and plasma floating in space, collection of energy waves, encapsulates in every particle, and then chamber was starred. And then the plasma, it goes very deep into plasma, right? Have I physically seen plasma floating in space? No. Just what Nikola showed me. He would show me where the plasma was. Now, and I'm referencing this on day one of the Chronicles of Corina Angela and Nikola Tesla on May 24th, 2020, because now years later, we have the Three Eye Atlas. And what is it doing? It's spewing out something in the universe, in space. What is that? Some are saying it is plasma, some are saying it's something else. What is it? It's gases. It's right. So it's what is that? I mean, that's so what was happening here? So over the years, and I'm sharing this because when we're in it, it doesn't make sense, right? Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. But go with it. Keep doing what you love, right? And I think for me, it's just this insatiable curiosity of being open and being the observer that I am, that things are coming into fruition now, over 5 years later. And I'm seeing the dots connect, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't nuts. Because that's where we can go too. We can doubt ourselves. We can be down on ourselves and get depressed and like, what's wrong with me? Blah, 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 right? We've all been there. I know I've been there millions of times. But what do we do with that? Does it make us more resilient? Does it make us stronger? Absolutely. So I'm here to cheer you on and to tell you to keep going, whatever that may be for you. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing because I know you will get your aha moment. I know that piece of the puzzle that you've been looking for will come to fruition and you'll be so happy that you continued. So keep going. So that's my message of the day, and I just wanted to support you and share a little bit of my journey, and perhaps it was helpful for you. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please leave here. I would really appreciate it. And like, follow, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Because we're all in this together, right? We are truly. And when we support each other and connect with each other and encourage one another is just the most important thing right here, right now in 2026. So please join me over on Patreon, The Origin of Light, for more information on the Chronicles of Corina Angela and Nikola Tesla. And also, I'll be sharing my book, Transference, Connect Your Soul Self, that was written in 2019, published in 2023. And that was all received by Edgar Cayce and Gladys Davis Turner. And for those of you that have bought my book, thank you so much. And I hope you truly love it. It's alive and it's helping so many people around the world with the exercises, and it's a step-by-step process of my own personal process of what was happening on each and every day that I was connecting in with the consciousness of Edgar and Gladys, and what beautiful souls they were, an amazing legacy that they created that they want to continue through these books that they wanted me to write. And I'm just the messenger. I'm just the conduit. They approached me and asked me, and it took a while for me to say yes because it was like I was doubting myself, like what's really transpiring here, right? So that again is like, how well can we hone in to our true nature and our truth, you know, um, and to stick with it and to trust, right? I mean, look now, it's like, oh my gosh, the book is just helping so many people, and it's continuing their legacy. It's continuing their amazing work. And they wanted to, it's like they were, and now they're here. I'm like, what? Wait, slow down. So for the new children of the world, and they wanted to give the exercises within the book. There's 28 exercises in transference. And these exercises I went through, and they helped me, and they were there and showing me what to do. And I had never been obviously through these exercises. I had no idea what they were. And they're very, very honed in on collective consciousness, and how do we expand our consciousness, and how do we heal ourselves, and how can we be more efficient, and healing in different ways, different modalities, and in a simplistic form. How can we connect with the non-speakers of the world? How can we better understand autism and what can we do? So all of these things are in transference, and it was just such an incredible ride. It's such an incredible journey to be with them. So I hope you're enjoying um, the book. And if you haven't gotten it, it's on Amazon. I'll leave the link as well. But I think it's so prevalent in our time right here and right now to support to support everyone that perhaps you view as different because they're not. You know, it's I think it's a disservice if we are the ostriches with our heads stuck in the sand, right? It's a disservice to our incredible future. It's a disservice to the children and the young adults right here and right now that have no voice. Um, because telepathy is so very real. And, I've never doubted it. Um, but for me to actually go through all of these processes, it's just extraordinary. And you're extraordinary. Whoever's listening to this right here and right now, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Create your magic, create in every capacity. So I strongly urge you to be truly you, be truly authentic, and to share your truth, and to share your resilience, and to share your stories and your magnitude and your brilliance, because it's meant for you to share, right? Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I could stay on here forever, but until the next time, I'm Corina Angela, and thank you for your support. And please share. All right. Thanks so much. Enjoy.